Hi, my name's Sammy Kadak and I'm a women's pelvic health physiotherapist, and I also fit pessaries for women who experience prolapse or stress incontinence. The pessary I'm going to show you today is the Incontinence dish pessary, and I just wanted to give you some of my favorite tips and tricks for inserting and removing this type of pessary. So the Incontinence dish, I actually quite like it in some ways more than the ring with the knob, because it's just a little bit more supple, and the actual urethral support, so the knob on this one compared to the knob on this one, is a little less bulky. So some people find it a lot more comfortable, whereas a lot of my women do actually really like this one, and it provides more support to the urethra. So pros and cons of both. The Incontinence dish, as you're inserting it into the vagina, if we want that urethral support, you would start by putting it in this end first, and this would go in last. The Incontinence dish, you can fold it. I would go with an overhand grip, usually of your dominant hand, to help squeeze it to fold a little bit. It doesn't have to be folded completely flat. It depends what feels comfortable for you. But knowing that you won't be able to really fold it as you take it back out is certainly a good thing to keep in mind. So some of my ladies like to provide that little fold, and then I tend to go with that rainbow shape, which helps you to angle it in and down. Once you are inserting it into the vagina, you do want to push it down far enough that it then slips under the pubic bone and under the urethra. You shouldn't be able to touch it right at the entrance. It should be a little bit further in. And often a good gauge of is it in far enough is, can you feel it? Ideally, once it's in at that good depth, you shouldn't notice it at all. Sometimes it takes a little bit of getting used to. So the reason that we're angling in and down is to get it behind the cervix rather than touching the cervix or going in front of the cervix, which might give you a bit more of a sensation of a deep pressure. If you are getting that, just take it out and try again. Some of my ladies prefer to lie down to insert their pessaries, and that's where the pelvic floor muscles are a little bit more relaxed. Usually the prolapse is a little reduced, so things are already sitting a bit higher, and you might be able to get it in better. Some of my ladies do prefer to insert their pessary while they're standing, and that might just give you a little bit more leverage and reach to be able to insert it. So you can try both ways and see what works for you. Sometimes with the dish, the trickier part is getting it out. So compared to some of the ones that are open in the middle, or the ring pessary that has these larger holes to slip your finger through from the front and then pull it out. From behind, because you'll be going that way and then pulling it out. You do have to come in front of this one to hook onto the lip of the dish or onto that knob and then be able to bring it out. So what I found usually works best is actually your thumb. If you can get the thumb into the vagina, slide it in front of the pessary, hook onto the edge and start to bring it down, potentially grasping the end with your pointer finger as well to then pull it out. Some of my ladies will still find that pretty tricky, or just find that they're not able to reach it because it's sitting up a little higher. And so we can put on a little bit of dental floss, non-minty dental floss, to give you essentially like a tampon string to be able to pull it down to the point where you're able to grab it, or potentially to use that to actually pull it all the way down. I do find though that the dental floss can create a bit of a stress point or weak point, so you might find that the pessary gets cracks or tears in the material sooner than it might have otherwise. So if you're using the floss, maybe alternate in different holes so that you're not repeatedly creating that stress point at the same spot. Again, removing, some people will lie down, some people will stand up, just depends on your personal preference. The position of the Incontinence dish pessary when it's inside the vagina, it actually doesn't sit horizontally in your body. It's going to sit a little more on an angle inside the body. So once it's in the vagina, it's going to be more like this. And so if it, a lot of people do get a little concerned when it's not sitting like this and they don't think it's being effective, but it should sit a little bit more vertically. So don't panic if it feels like it's that way rather than flat. That's about it. So if you have any questions about the incontinence dish, please feel free to leave me a note below or send me a message. I do find them to be really helpful for women who are experiencing stress incontinence, and they provide that structural support for bladder and uterine prolapse.